Hello, and welcome back to the Kéan Coffee YouTube channel. My name's Jaydon, and today we're going to be bringing you another brewing tutorial, the Aeropress. If you haven't heard of Kéan Coffee, we are a family-owned business that was founded by Martin and Karen Dietrich, and it's been a coffee house staple in Southern California since 2005. I love the Aeropress. It's a super great brewing method that's really simple, but you can have a very diverse range of brewing options with it. And it's also great for like on the go, if you're taking it on a hike or something like that. Today we'll be using my favorite Aeropress method, which was developed by Carolina Ibarra Gary. She used this method to win the World Aeropress Championships in 2018. I will be simplifying it a little bit though, so if you do want to see all the detailed instructions, I'll leave that in the description of the video below, but let's get into it. The items you'll need for this method are some high quality filtered water and some way to heat it. I'll be using a gooseneck kettle, but you don't have to do that. Some fresh roasted coffee. I'll be using Kéan Coffee, of course. I highly recommend it. A coffee grinder. All right, let's use something a little more reasonable, like a burr grinder like this. A scale if you're not gonna be using the eyeballing it method. An Aeropress, of course, which comes with the necessary filters. And something to brew into. Just make sure that the mouth of the cup is wide enough to fit the Aeropress itself. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna heat some water to about 202 degrees Fahrenheit or about 94 degrees Celsius. I'm gonna be using a gooseneck kettle. That does make things a little bit easier, but thankfully you don't have to do that. So let's move on to our Aeropress here. We're gonna remove the filter cap. Then we're gonna grab one paper filter. Then we're gonna wet this. So what this does is it makes sure that no paper flavor from our paper filter actually gets into our coffee. Back to our Aeropress. So the Aeropress is basically just two parts, the main chamber and the plunger. So we're gonna take the plunger, put it back in, and we're gonna line it up right in the center of that number 4. That's not super important unless you are taking this on the go and you don't have a scale to measure things out. All right. Make sure you use this funnel. If you get any grounds on the edge here, it will make it into your cup of coffee. So we're gonna be using 35 grams of coffee for this method. You're gonna wanna grind this on metal filter. If you're getting it ground at a coffee shop or something, you can let them know metal. That'll be perfect. But if you're just doing it at home, somewhere between your normal paper filter and something like French press. So just a little bit coarser than paper filter. Okay, so let's weigh out 35 grams. Even professionals spill a little bit sometimes, but that is 35 grams, perfect. So remove that little funnel. So that's gonna be, if you can't see, it's right in the middle of number 2. So far, number 4, right in the middle of number 2, perfect. Now we're gonna add 100 grams of hot water. We're gonna add this pretty slowly. Should take you somewhere around 30 seconds. So you're gonna pour maybe a little bit slower than you would think. All right, for those 100 grams, we're right in the center of number 1 now. Makes it very easy. Now we're gonna take our little paddle here and agitate for about 30 seconds as well. In the original recipe, she uses chopsticks, which is actually pretty helpful. It makes sure you're not gonna slosh any of this outside of the Aeropress, but as long as you're pretty gentle, it's not too shabby. All right, I'm gonna set this aside. Now we're gonna toss our filter cap right back on here. All right, set our scale to the side and grab our coffee. Now we're gonna flip this over. Make sure your cup is empty. You can just set it right on top, flip it over, and then we're gonna press, again, pretty slowly, somewhere around 30 seconds. Be sure to keep a hand on the bottom here. It can be a little hard to press, but avoid using 2 hands just because if you're at an angle, it'll maybe slip out from under you. It's not the best. All right. All right, now when I think I'm finished, I'll take the top off, make sure it's done dripping, maybe give it one more little press. Perfect. Gonna set that to the side. You're gonna need to empty out your Aeropress, which is insanely easy. Set that to the side. Toss paper filter in there. Then we're just gonna, boop, plunge all that out. Gonna rinse off any and all coffee grounds. Okay, so now the last step is to just add 100 grams more hot water. So I'm actually gonna add it to the Aeropress, which I just rinsed out. There we go. So again, if you just line it up with that number 4, we're gonna be just about midway on number 2, maybe just a hair below. Then we're just gonna add that. Perfect. And we're done. That easy, already clean, wonderful cup of coffee. This method's very fast, so if you're used to doing something like pour overs, this is gonna be a little bit hotter than you're used to. Let it cool off for just a second. Delicious. I absolutely love the Aeropress, not just for the complex cup of coffee it makes, but for how diverse its uses are. Even in this method alone, we could have swapped out the last 100 grams of hot coffee for hot milk to make sort of a mock latte or a macchiato. Or we could have done the same thing that Carolina originally did in her recipe and used 60 grams of hot water and 40 grams of room temp. That way your coffee's not too hot and you can start drinking right away. The possibilities are literally endless, and I highly encourage you to look up some recipes from other World Aeropress Championship winners. But for the highest quality coffee and all other things Kéan Coffee, head on over to KeanCoffee.com. Everything there is fresh roasted, which means whatever you get will have been roasted within just the past few days. Thank you so much for watching our video, and be sure to subscribe for more specialty coffee videos and tutorials like this one.